Mission Hope. Inspirational stories of faith and triumph. Life's many upheavals, sharp curves, twists and turns, the challenging circumstances coming right at you, are non-stop. The inner wars within are outside your control and feel overwhelming. You feel alone, and the seemingly endless battles rage on. You feel like you have lost all hope and faith, questioning, why me? Why now? How can I handle another blow? The answers you're seeking are in this collection of 20 uplifting stories in this book. Within its golden pages, from the deep confines of their hearts and souls, these extraordinary authors have opened up and are here to assist you in navigating the deep, daunting, and dark waters that you are facing. Each story is unique in its experience, but similar in the fact that through everything presented to them in life, these authors have found the way back to success, peace, and joy through hope and faith. These authors have turned tragedy into tranquility once again. Now, they are here to empower you to shift from what once was fear and failure into the future of your dreams. They offer as a gift to you the freedom to choose your destiny. Now, it's time to turn the key and walk through the door. Hear from the authors themselves as they share their journey and story with you, here on Living the Next Chapter.
Everyone, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. We're working our way through the authors for Book 2 from our great friend Shar Murphy and Mission Hope, but this time we're focused on faith. And our guest today is returning from Book 1, now in Book 2. M.L. Sutton is his author pen name. Mike is here, and we're so happy to have Mike back for round 2. Mike, it's so great to see you again. When I knew that Book 2 was coming out and I saw your name on the list, I knew that we got a chance to talk again, and I was really happy to see that was going to happen. So welcome back to Living the Next Chapter.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I've been looking forward to this.
It's great. It's great. So give us an update from the last time we were together for Book 1. Some of the new things that are happening for you, some of the updates. Tell us what, get us caught up.
Since the first interview, I have completed the second book that I was working on, titled For Him, For Her, For Them. And that's in the final stages now of getting the cover ready. And then a couple of videos have been done on some of my writings and poetry by Alan Johnson of the Poets Lounge.
Nice.
And then this book here with Char and the other authors. That's been a good project to work on.
Yeah, it's great to be back again with Shar. And when you got the call from Shar, I think you had some influence on the next book that was released and the title and like when the order of what book should come out. Tell me about your conversation with Shar.
Yeah, we had just talked on what I thought the next chapter should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed to make sense that with her line of thinking and the way it worked in my mind was that we had faith, we had hope.
Yeah.
But along with hope, you need to have faith.
Yeah.
In order to make it balance out. And so to my surprise, she went with it. And I'm looking at the cover here in front of me now, and it's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, it's nice. I just saw it yesterday too. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to reading some of the other stories that are in it. You know, the first book, we go into this and we write the story, but we have no idea what the others are writing or how our story is going to play with theirs.
Right.
And when you read it as a finished product, it's amazing. We all initially come from the same spot. We're all the same. You know, we've all had heartaches and disappointments. And when you read through these and you see that we've all found that glimmer of hope and we've pulled through, and that come out so strong in the first book. This book, she's titled Mission Hope, Inspirational Stories of Faith and Triumph, which to me is even as good or better than just the Mission Hope book.
Right.
Because you found your hope and you grasped onto the faith, and that brought us all out of wherever we were at.
Right.
And to me, that's powerful. And if we can share that with others, maybe there's someone out there that's having a difficult time, just to let them know that, hey, it's not the end. The sun's going to shine again. You know, that would be such a great thing.
Did you get any feedback on your first book, your first chapter in that first book, Around Hope?
Not from any others other than just on Facebook or like the local store. Some of the local individuals that had read the book, they commented on my story, but as well as the other author stories, how they were touched by it. This book is different because generally I don't talk a whole lot about myself, but in order to convey faith in how it affects me, I had to break that barrier, and that was a tough thing to do. To write about yourself and not come off like you're bragging and not drag everybody down in the hole with you. That was difficult for me. But when I got it done, I sent it to Shar, and I've been really thankful. She never sent it back for a correction.
Well, that's a good sign. That's a great sign.
It was. Yeah, it was. I was happy for that. And she's a great one to work with,
I know.
It's her and the other authors. Having never met her face to face, but just talked with her and online. It's not a grandmother image. It's like someone my age, even though there may be a variance, but that close, the closeness that you have with a grandmother, someone that you can confide in and you trust, but they're there and they're just as powerful and motivated as you are to do the job ahead. And that to me was enlightening. That was like a shot of get up and go juice.
Nice. And then the idea of having community with other authors too, all in the same book. That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And we communicate back and forth. Shara set up a web page strictly for that, where we can even promote our projects. But then she also has a chat page to where, if you just want to jump on and say good morning, everybody gets it. And if you're busy today, it doesn't matter. Catch it tomorrow or the next day. There's no pressure. It's just that we're there. We all get a chance to read and catch up, but we have an idea where other people are at in their lives and what they're doing. It's kind of a feel good thing. I enjoy it.
So, Mike, for a new author listening to our podcast and they haven't written anything yet, what's your recommendation about writing, co-authoring with a bunch of other authors? What are some of the other benefits that you would encourage a new author that maybe that's a good idea to start with a co-authored book?
Yeah, I had no idea what it was, but by doing that and joining in, you at that point have their connections and they have your connections. So now when someone says, oh, hey, I read this book by so-and-so, it's like, hey, I know that person. And you've got a quick conversation going right now. And now you're no longer someone that is remote or nobody knows of. It's kind of like name dropping, but you actually know them. Right. You're working on a project with them. And that goes a long ways with helping to sell your writings or promote your writings to others. It's been a great thing, and it's been interesting for me to see all the different connections that each of them have.
Right, you get to grow that circle, and you get to learn from each other, support each other. I like the idea of that chat too. That's a nice feature to be able to have on the website and just be in touch with people. I would hope that you guys could meet sometime. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be an ideal thing. Even if we had to fly for a weekend or something, just for a one-day gathering to, hey, we're all the ones connected to actually see who we are.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of everybody coming from different areas of the world, and yet you can all join as one on this project and all have the same motivation and heart in it. Mm-hmm. That to me is amazing.
A great experience. I love it. And then, Shar, what can we say about Shar? Like, we've said it many times. She's a great person, a great encouragement, and helps people uncover their voice and their story. I love it.
Yeah, and she's able to pull it all together and make it work.
Right.
And I know that you look at the time that we put into writing, she has that much time and well more in putting it all together. She gets our stories and has to make head or tails out of them and figure out, well, hey, how does this fit with that? And let's get the book set up and let's get Dom in here. And it's a big production that we only see a small piece of.
Right.
And it's just an amazing thing for me.
It's kind of like spokes on a wheel, right? You guys are all individual spokes, but without any one of those spokes, the wheel's not going to operate the right way, right? So you guys all contribute equally. I love that.
Yeah, it's not going to roll.
Good.
And she's got a way about her that she can do this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just with a phone call, she can. I never had any idea that I would ever even talk to another writer, you know, that would be someone I could actually work with at some point. To me, that was a great thing. So for someone out there just starting out, I think Facebook is a great thing. Don't be afraid of putting your writings out there.
Yeah.
Because that's how I met Char. You know, she
Yeah.
picked up on some of the writings I had out there, and it just blossomed from there.
Yeah, I love your writings online. When you're sharing, you've got great imagery, great photos you post as well. But then there's the stuff that you write, Mike. It's just, it draws you in. It really does. So keep doing that. Keep doing that. I love it.
I appreciate the readers, but I also appreciate all the photographers out there.
It's great. So tell us more, like the name of my podcast, Living the Next Chapter. It's very apropos to the fact that you are writing your next chapter. What's your chapter going to be about in this book? What can we anticipate?
The title of my chapter in this book is The Knowledge of Faith.
Okay.
And in order to write it, I had to actually reach way back and really deep, because throughout my upbringing, I had been in church for a good portion of it. And then I walked away. Then I came back with family. And as I was going through my life, I seen things happening. And I wondered, why me? And as I got down the road further, I could start seeing and figuring out that, hey, it's not a haphazard puzzle that the pieces don't fit. You know, it's like if you get far enough away from it, you can see where the pieces are lining up. And remember those old games where you had a square with a bunch of letters or a picture and you move them around?
Yep.
That to me is how my life has been. And as the years went on, I could see those pieces going into the right spots, but I had no idea how I was doing it until later. And at this point in my life, I wished I had figured it out well sooner.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been a better life for me, for my family, but they got into the right places and it's working. But I take them into the fact that, you know, this is where I was at. This is where the direction it was headed. And as the pieces went into place by faith, at some point I figured out that there's a power bigger than me. We all want to think we got a handle on it. And truth be known, when we get strong enough to face the fact that we don't, that's when we can see the pieces start to come together. But I think we have to be to that point where we just say, I can't do it no more.
Yeah. And that's a scary point to be at in life, when you don't feel like you have any options and you have to look beyond yourself. Right.
Yep.
So from your perspective, Mike, how would you define faith in relation to this book?
I was thinking about that last night, and I looked up the definition of faith, and I see there's a definition in the Bible, and I read the one that I found in the encyclopedia in the dictionary, and I think the one in the Bible is just as good.
Okay.
It's, to paraphrase it, it would be believing in something that you can't see because of the evidence of what you can see.
Okay.
So it's confusing.
Yeah.
But if you think of God, none of us have seen him.
Yeah.
But every morning I get up and I watch that sunrise, or every evening I watch that sunset.
Yeah.
I know that somebody bigger than me did that. Somebody more powerful than me. So I can sense that and know that there is a God there. Even though I don't see him.
Right.
I know when that sun goes down and the darkness creeps in and covers the land, that's not the end of it. You know, it's not over. We'll go to bed, we'll get up, and we'll have a new day. And we have no proof. but it happens. And in my life, that's pretty much the same way. I got to that dark day and I didn't know where it was going to go, but I turned it over to God and the sun shone again.
There you go.
And we all have dark days, even when you think you have things going in the right direction. It's not a perfect world or a perfect life, but we always have that hope that the next day is going to be there again. The sun's going to come up again. And that keeps driving me forward. The promise of another day, promise of a future.
Yeah. And I think when we lose sight of that promise or that hope or that faith, that's when we start to spiral.
Yep.
And start to go somewhere where we probably shouldn't go in our lives. And that's scary. So I do like the idea that there is something bigger than us that has some sort of control over our future and where we're going and has some plan, even though nothing makes sense in the moment.
Yep.
That there's something there.
Yeah. I mean, if I think of it sometimes like if you had a swimmer and you just fall out of a boat and you can swim, it's no big deal. If you fall out of the boat and you can't swim, that's a major thing.
Yeah.
And when we have those moments in our life when we fall out of the boat, so to speak, and we can't swim any longer, at just the last moment before we start going deeper into the water, it's like there's a hand up.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it, and I'll continue to believe it. It's only God.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be folks that disagree and everybody's got their opinions, but in the end, if I'm wrong, I'm not out nothing.
Interesting. Oh, I like that point of view, Mike. Yeah.
But, there just has to be more. And
Right.
It's there. We just got to believe it.
I love it. How has writing with Char's books elevated or helped you in your own personal writings? Has there been a connection between working with Char and these great authors and your own personal works that you're working on?
There is, because I was not really good in English, and my kids tell me, Dad, you don't talk right. Well, I wrote like I talk. And so looking at their writing and reading it, it helped me to say, oh no, this, I need to go back and smooth this out or tweak this way. And over time, I see an improvement in my writing, even though I haven't went back to school to learn how to work grammar. Mm-hmm. I can pick something up and read it. And it's like, oh no, that ain't right. I need to tweak that. So there is a lot to learn, and how to turn something into just from words to a picture. And to me, that's like one of the things I really enjoy is I may not have the right words to say what I feel, but if I can paint a picture with the words so that you can see what I feel, then I'm getting where I want to be. And that's what I try for.
And that's a good basis for any storyteller, right? If you want a story is a great way to teach something or give an example of something that brings people in and helps them understand what you're trying to communicate. Right. Stories from all of history have been the way that people have taught and help people remember. So if you can capture a great story and communicate a great story to an audience, it's going to sit with them and they're going to be able to picture them in the story as you tell the story, right? I love that.
Yeah. And it started out when I first started writing, and then even while I was writing the first book with Char, I love to watch the sunrise. So I practiced with that. I would write a post on Facebook and try to describe what I felt by what I was seeing. And it couldn't be like I was writing a grocery list out. It had to flow. And each day I seen an improvement, where it got to the point where now when I go back, even in my own writings, and I read some of them, even though I know I wrote them and I've read them many times. When they bring tears to my eyes, I feel good that, hey, I did it. If it still works on me, then I'm at peace with it, because you
Yeah.
always wonder, is this one going to be a hit or is this one going to be a crash? And it's amazing sometimes what you think is a hit is not,
Right.
and what you think is not going to go anywhere, that's the one that everybody likes. So it's a matter of just keep trying,
Great.
keep painting a picture.
And I think that's a great lesson for our authors as well, is to keep writing. And when you're doing this on a regular basis, you're writing for Shar, you're writing your own books,
Yeah.
but then you're also posting to social media and sharing your thoughts on a regular basis. That's a great tool. And I think authors just need to write more often and just
Yep.
be in that space of writing and being creative. And then that'll kind of lead to more in the future as well.
And it does. And I catch myself, like I might be in a restaurant or I was on a job site one day and the fellow I was meeting hadn't shown up. So I'm sitting there and I heard the fluorescent lighting humming.
Mm.
I was like real quick, pulled out my phone and I start writing. And that humming noise, from there, it went to the clock. I could hear the hands on the clock moving. And there was no other noises in the building, but that alone built that story up. So when you go back and you read it, you're there.
Yeah.
It's just as if you were sitting next to me. And that's my goal for each story, is I want to give some hope. I want to paint a picture that they can feel what my heart feels.
So when you're writing these moments when the sun's coming up or you're waiting on the job site, are you just writing pen and paper? How are you doing this?
I've written two maybe on pen and paper.
Oh,
Everything
really?
everything is written on my cell phone.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And so if you were to find my cell phone and open it up, there's hundreds of stories. And
I love it.
what makes it nice is because if you've got a still moment here or there, you just stop writing. When you have to go, as soon as you find another moment, pick it up, even if it's 3 words, or if a thought comes to my mind and I'm driving down the road. I finally figured out how to talk to my phone, and I can tell it, save these words.
Yeah.
And I know when I go back and see them words, it's going to bring that memory back.
Yeah, good.
And I can pick right up and do it again. And I do a lot of it that way.
That's great. See, look at you, Mr. Technology here. I love it. It's great.
I'm trying.
It's amazing. Do you have any of your writings anywhere close to you at the moment that you could share one of them with us? Mike?
I do.
I would love to hear if you could just grab one and read it for us. That would be, I think it's just a great example of what you're doing. And I would encourage people to follow you on social media, because every time they pop up, Mike, I have to stop and read them. So I love them.
I'll try to get through this.
Okay.
Like I say, I can write them, but when I go back and read them, it brings back a lot of memories for me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So here we go. But a caretaker. Oft times I see the sideways glances and hear the quiet words which come from under the breaths of those who don't understand. I know that most have no way of knowing why I do what I do, why I get up so early to work until evening, soaked in sweat and looking stooped from hours being spent bent under the bright rays of the sun as each bead of sweat rolls down my body. They don't understand that these things, along with the dirt which has permanently colored my hands, the numerous small cuts and scars that decorate them, and the old leathery looking skin that covers my exposed body, are all rewards that I cherish for having been allowed to spend the days that I have remaining being the best caretaker that I can be, as these beds don't belong to me. They don't see me as I near each flower. Taking in the beautiful fragrance, which reminds me of her. Or notice how gently I handle each flower, as though it was a part of her. They don't see the eyes which hide behind dark glasses, filled with tears. As I look at the brown-eyed Susans, remembering those big brown eyes, which used to brighten my days. They have no way with which to see the lifelong memories that play throughout the day in my mind as I tend to the flowers which she so dearly loved. You see, though nothing but a caretaker, it's far more than just a job to me. It's a gift, another connection that I have to the one I love so dearly.
Mike, thank you. Thank you for reading that. I really
Thank you.
appreciate that. And thank you for writing that. And for those, Mike, that haven't really heard your first episode here on Living the Next Chapter, you talk about the amazing loss that you've incurred by losing someone very special in your life, and these flowers you talk about, and we talk about the flower beds outside your home, and there's this connection you have that stays. Can you just tell us a little bit about your wife, and kind of give us a little bit about her as we kind of...
Yeah, we had met, well, it'd be 46 years ago now, on a blind date.
Yeah.
And when we got married, we were married for 43 years before I lost her to a disease called COVID, or not COVID, COPD. Okay. It was during the COVID period, so that's what they initially wanted to call it. And the doctor who Bonnie pronounced her said, no, it's nothing to do with COVID, it's COPD. But nobody knew that she had that.
Wow.
18 hours before she passed away, she had been ill, and she had gotten home from the hospital and everything checked out. They didn't know what was causing anything. So she had these Zoom meetings with 3 or 4 doctors, and everybody said, hey, there's nothing wrong. She's great. And to that moment, nobody knew anything was wrong. We had the next 18 hours to ourselves. We did exactly what we always wanted to do. We were together all day long. We fished. We rode quad ride, ATVs together. She loved doing things like that, working in her flower beds. And we went to bed that night, and about 2:30, 2:20, she woke up and didn't feel right. And I checked her and checked her oxygen, checked her sugar, and her oxygen had just dropped out the bottom. So I called the ambulance in, and I had to leave her in order to let the ambulance drivers in. So I propped her up in bed so she wouldn't fall. And by the time they got here and got down the room, that was the last I ever seen her until I went to the hospital. But I never seen her alive after that day in the bedroom. But unbeknownst to me, as we were getting things, over the next year or so, getting things around and put together in the house and back together, I come across a Post-it note here and a Post-it note there with, some of them might have had 3 or 4 paragraphs. Some were maybe a line, a couple short little mini stories that she had left that I didn't even know she was writing. I didn't know that she was a writer. She never ever talked about it. None, even the kids, we didn't know she wrote. And so in my first book, I tell about losing her and our life together and, our family and how it went. In the second book, I titled it For Him, For Her, For Them. And my goal was to take these few writings that I found 6 of them, and incorporate them into the book. So when you look at the cover of the book where the author's name is at the bottom, it's her initials and my initials as the author, with the idea that's the final project that we'll ever work together on.
Does that bring you joy? And do you think she would approve of her writings going out in the world like that?
Yeah, I do. I think she'd be.
Yeah,
I think she'd be proud.
Yeah, I think she'd be proud of you as well, Mike, because you have grown as a person through all of this, and your voice is helping many people as you write and as you share who you are and what you're seeing through your lens. Many people are impacted by what you're doing, and I think she'd be very proud of that as well.
Well, I'm going to keep on. What is it they say? Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
I remember once as a young guy, I had a jacket we all wore the jean jackets, and I had that great big fella with his legs stretched way out.
Yeah.
Keep on trucking.
Yeah.
As long as I got breath, I want to keep on trucking.
Yeah.
Keep putting some hope out there. Give people just try to. Maybe you can't help everybody, but even if you can help a few, I think that's a good thing. And through my life, I've had many people help me out, and I just feel it's my turn to give back.
Nice.
So.
Excellent. One thing we're trying to do with everyone coming on the show, Mike, is give them an opportunity to give their greetings and their appreciation to Shar, directly from you to Shar. So I'm getting out of the way. It's just you and Shar in the room together. What would you like to say to Shar now for being part of book 2 now?
Oh, fantastic. Hello, Shar. I know you may be surprised by this, but we're all going to give you a little bit. So I just wanted to let you know that it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to many more projects with you. You've been a big help for me. You've been there when we've had questions, and you've brought a group of people that, from what I can see, we're all good people, all good writers, and we've all got something that we can share to the world out there. And I thank you for that. I thank you for feeling the importance of this moment and these books that you're bringing us all together with, so that we can share them with the world. I hope the best for you, Shar, and I hope to work with you throughout the additional years. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, Shar, we all agree with Mike on that one for sure. And we appreciate the fact that you brought all these authors together, and that I get a chance as a podcast host to interact with them as well. So you've brought Mike into my life, and my life's better for that. So I appreciate it too, Shar. So thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for making time for me yet again. I'm following your author journey with great interest and great appreciation for all that you do. And I know my wife and I read your stuff all the time, so we really appreciate you, and encourage you to keep moving forward. Keep sharing your stories, keep sharing your message with the world, because even if only one person's impacted, I think that's all we need in life, is to know that one person found comfort or encouragement or the ability to carry on. Maybe they're missing someone too right now, and your words are the one thing that'll keep them going. So appreciate that.
Exactly. I appreciate it. Thank you. I enjoy coming on here, and I told Shar, I said, I was looking forward to getting back with you again.
I love it. Mike, so as far as where people can find you on social media, because they do need to follow you, they do need to read along as you post, because you post on a regular basis. Yep. Where's the best place for people to follow the author journey as it continues for you?
On Facebook, it's ML Sutton. Okay. On the regular Facebook, or they can find me in a couple of the groups. One is Biz Catalyst 360 or Biz Nation. The other one is Writers Cafe, who is hosted by Larry Tyler. And the other one is Dirt Road Storytellers. And he's also hosted by Larry Tyler. Good. But all three of them have a good group of people that are actually members. Biz Catalyst is huge, but the other two groups, a few hundred people in each group, but we've got, I'd say the majority write. A lot of folks just come on to read. It's not like I'd say like a coffee shop. You get your regulars coming in, and you know them, and you visit back and forth. It's just a good feeling when you're on there. Nice. All like minds, and it's a great thing.
Excellent. Yeah, so definitely go check them out, everyone, and I'll have links in the show notes as always, so you can find Mike and go out and buy Mike's books as well, and support his author journey, and leave an amazing review for him, and give your support as he continues to write.
Watch the videos.
Yeah, we'll have links to those as well.
Have access to YouTube.
Yeah. Excellent. Mike, thank you so much for giving us some of your time again today. I know you have many things to write. And
I appreciate it.
It's always great to see you on my screen. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. And we'll be back again.
Oh, we will. That's going to happen for sure.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Hey, just jumping on here at the end. Thank you so much for checking out this episode, Living the Next Chapter, talking about Mission Hope Volume 2. You definitely want to pick up a copy of this book. Head over to ourmissionhope.com, O-U-R, missionhope.com. All the information in the show notes. Get a copy of this book. Get one for yourself. Get one for your best friend. And let's encourage these authors as they write and share their stories with us. If you want to connect with me, my name is Dave. livingthenextchapter.com. livingthenextchapter.com. I would love to have you reach out through the website. Let me know what you think of this episode, what you think of the podcast. Let's encourage our fellow authors and let's do something great. Thank you for being here on the podcast. Again, it's the second book from our great friend Shar Murphy, Mission Hope, Inspirational Stories of Faith and Triumph at ourmissionhope.com. Thanks for being here. Catch you on the next one.